How's it going, everybody? Good to see you. Good to be here. This is Jose Trujillo, world's greatest living artist. I want to do a painting right before your eyes. This is a bigger piece, so it's going to require me to go back a bit more. I think I'm gonna have to go up. Just a second, you guys. Sorry about the shakiness. Bear with me. We're gonna have to go back with this. There we go. Something like that. So I'm going to do a painting of hello. Let me move this light bulb. Move this. There we go. Somewhere around there. I got my Starbucks on. I got some light bulbs. I got the same shirt I've been wearing for like 4 days in a row. I'm complete. Alright, let's do this. So I'm gonna get a brush here. How much does this measure anyways? Let's see what this canvas measures. So square canvas is a 36 by 36 inches. 36 by 36. So what I want to do is I want to always be intuitive with the paintings. It's always a gamble, okay? I have nothing planned out. It's always a gamble when it comes to this work. This is why I think that what's his name? Matisse used to say that creativity takes courage, because it's a gamble. It's a gamble. I don't know if gamble is the right word. What I want to be able to do is fully express through movement a scenery, right? Something that is happening that I'm not even fully aware of what's happening. I won't be aware of what's really happening. I change brush to a bigger one. I'm not really fully aware of what's happening until I start really moving. The painting itself starts sort of telling me what's really happening, and this is the trick. This is the trick of this type of painting, because the painting itself is really the almost as if it has a life of its own, right? Almost. To be put in those words. Dude, Sonic loves taking off. It's okay. He'll be back. As soon as he's hungry, he's gonna come back. Our dog is taking off.
Daddy's right here.
Oh, he's right there?
Yeah.
Cool. So this is the fascination that I have with loose brush. As opposed to any other style of painting, this is a fascination I have with it. That it leaves a lot of room for interpretation. And to me, that really is the sign of a painting, personally, when it leaves room for interpretation. When it doesn't tell the whole story. Okay, so I don't know why I do this, but it feels right. It's sort of like how I balance myself, especially when I'm doing large pieces. It almost feels like I'm balancing myself, just to put my hand on my head. So don't mind it, okay? Maybe it's the amount of certainty that I have. I don't know. It feels right. This is the beauty about this type of loose brush work. There's almost a, I don't know how to say it. It's almost a little bit enchanting for me. Especially when you're not telling the whole story, right? Because we artists have a tendency to overtell the story, and then what happens is that we don't allow the viewer. Many times, we don't allow the viewer to experience it. We're so enamored with telling the whole story that we don't allow the viewer to experience the story, to experience the painting. Right? I think all paintings have a I don't know, maybe it's two brothers, maybe it's two sisters. I have no idea. I usually don't find out, unless it's a commission, I don't find out what the painting is about really, or the title of the painting till the end. I move, I don't know if you're able to see, if I move my whole body with it, I'm able to trigger other things that were not there, that were not possible if I just did this. You know, I try to be as dynamic as possible, especially as I can remember, right? Because I forget these things too. I have to constantly paint because I forget certain little things, such as keep enough paint on the brush. keep enough paint on the brush. We have a fly, we have a insolent fly in our studio right now.
I know he was bothering me right now too.
Came and bother me now.
Shoot, fly.
My star fly.
Don't bother me.
And it's a mean one. Anita Stain says, how do you choose your palette for a piece? I don't. I use the same palette unless I change it. What I do is that, I don't know. Yeah, this fly came here to wage war on me. You know those flies that just get close to you, to your face? That's the one. I don't choose the palette. I used to do that, and I used to prepare the paint. I no longer do that. What I do now is that I try to keep an open idea. In the same palette. What that does is that it gives me a bit of control. Awesome painting, Jose. It's always great to watch you live, and your message is inspiring. Thanks for making videos. Oh, thank you so much. Art of Krista. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do all sorts of little things. I'm preparing some videos now that I have this bigger studio for you guys, because I know that a lot of people have been asking for actual full tutorials, right? I do all sorts of different little things. One of them is keep the brush very wet, but keep it full of paint. Another of the little things that I do is there's a bunch of little things that I do when I paint that most people are not aware of, unless you yourself might be a painter and you've had enough experience. Maybe you catch those things. But another thing that I do is that I'll start with the subject, and then I'll paint the background. So I'll paint the subject first, right? If it's a horse, if it's a whatever, and then I'll go to the background. One of the reasons for that is to create the negative effect, right? Negative painting, which is one of the things that I love using. Another thing that I do is that I like to use sort of impressionistic colors, but not really keep them all the same. What I mean by that is, I like using a lot of the pastel colors and whatnot, but I also enjoy the fact that I can jump back and forth from pastels to dirty, quote-unquote dirty colors. I allow my brush to get dirty. That's another thing that I do. That you need a lot of courage for that, because a lot of artists don't like doing that. As a matter of fact, I fought with that for years. It was a pet peeve. Another thing that I do, that I see a good friend of mine, a good artist friend of mine, he keeps his palette very dirty. He keeps it, I think, more dirty than mine. And he paints a very interesting type of realism. So it's a very interesting thing to see, you know, that I'm not the only local doing that. There's other people doing that. So there's little different things that I like doing. A lot of it is imagination. I don't like to just look at something and say, well, I'm going to paint that. I'm not really painting if I do that. A lot of it is just imagination. A lot of it's just imagination. For example, I need to be imagining what I'm painting at the same time. Another thing that I do, I'm giving you guys all kinds of things that I do, is that if I keep a dirty brush, right, or a dirty palette, muddy, right, it's called muddy, I'll use that as a background as well. I'll use that as an underpainting, quote unquote, right, where it suits, where it fits right. Not always, but where it fits right. So it's a very intuitive thing where it makes sense. Certain things make sense, other stuff doesn't. So I just kind of move along. But the main thing that I do that it's going to cause a lot of, for a lot of artists it's difficult to apply this. I know because it was very difficult for me, is to shoot from the hip. This is a very difficult practice because we want to control. What I mean shooting from the hip is that I pick a color and then I just take it. And I don't really think about it much. I take it and I use it. And that's a very difficult, almost a very difficult practice for many artists to do. Because we all want to control as much as possible. Finally a video where we're not looking up your nostrils in the car. Hey, they're all awesome, okay? Gotta love them all. If you don't love those videos, you don't really love me.
Like the meme setting?
Yeah. What do the memes say?
Huh?
What do the memes say?
If you don't love me in my crazy videos,
Oh.
you don't get to love me in my painting demo.
Yeah, if you don't love me in my crazy videos, you can't love me in my painting demos. You gotta love me in all of them. So I'm imagining that they're in a garden, right? So it's a lot of imagination. I know a lot of people are like, well, do you see the images? Do you reference photos really are more for commissions and for practice. Once I'm gonna paint, I kind of drop the whole reference, the reference photo or the reference drawing. I kind of drop all of that because I lose the magic. It's not perfect, It's not gonna be perfect, of course not. If it was perfect, it wouldn't be painting. It'd be something else. Even photography is not perfect. Who said that? Was it Adams? I think Ansel Adams said that even in photography you have to compose. Nobody takes a picture. You have to compose it. Something like that. I'm giving a loose translation of that. But that's how it is, right? You always have to compose. Sometimes I overdo it, but you know what? It's just what it is. I love doing that. Sometimes I overdo it. Sometimes I underdo it. I think I almost never underpaint. I think I almost never underdo it. I think I'm always overdoing it. To be quite honest with you guys. I think I almost always overdo it. It's very rare when I don't. The faces change sometimes as I go, they change. Because the figure is being it's being created as I'm going. And it's not set in stone. The figure is being created. And what I notice is that the more paint, a lot of artists are afraid of using paint, and I totally get it. But if this is your jam, if this is what you like to do, you can't be afraid of losing paint. Like, I'm sorry that paint is expensive, but you have to use it, or paint in a different way, right? It doesn't. This is one of the reasons why artwork gets charged what it does, right? It's not just the materials, it's the fact that you're not just painting from a photograph. You are being paid, as they say, for your vision. Who said that? Was it Paul Klee or one of these guys? I think. I don't know. I don't remember exactly who. You get paid for your vision, for your idea, for the dream that you're creating here. This is why you get paid. You don't get paid for, well, I'm gonna go and copy this photograph or this drawing that I did, and then I'm gonna, some artists do that, whatever. Everybody does things different, but I personally think that an artist gets paid for the dream, quote unquote manifesting, right? You're quote unquote manifesting a dream reality. Otherwise, it could not exist if you didn't think about it as an artist. It's his children playing in a garden. Could it be different? I'm sure it could. Could it be better? I'm sure it could. But, could it be worse? It could also be worse. What makes a great painting? I have no idea what makes a great painting. I get asked that a lot. What makes, for me, a great painting is the one that I paint. I'm not trying to be cocky or anything like that. What I'm trying to say is there is no room for what great is. Because today I paint this and I absolutely love it. And tomorrow I'll paint something else that I'm like, oh my God, like this is the best thing ever. So it's always kind of like it's always sort of the envelope, pushing the envelope, because you really don't know what great is. It's just what's in front of you. It's like, what's the best moment? This one. It can't be tomorrow, and it was definitely not yesterday's moment. The best moment is the one that you're experiencing right now. It's the only one you got. It's the same thing with the art. When people ask me sometimes, they're like, well, what do you consider a great work of art? The one I'm doing right now. The one I'm doing right now is the best work of art ever. This is by far the best work I've ever done in my life, because it's the one I'm doing right now. There can't be a better work. Not right now. There can't be a better work. I don't care if I painted the Mona Lisa. This is the best work ever. No? Figuratively speaking, guys. Figuratively speaking. It doesn't matter that you painted, the Mona Lisa, or that you painted whatever. None of that matters. It can only be the work that's in front of you. If you don't give it all of your undivided attention when you're painting it, you've missed the whole point of being an artist, I think, personally. Of course, everybody thinks differently, and this is why we have different things happening, because everybody thinks different. But I think that the best work is always the one you're giving your attention to. Being an artist is a hell of a thing. You sort of work very hard, and you end up realizing that you weren't being an artist. You were sort of on a spiritual journey. You almost become a fucking poet at the end of the day. You started painting pictures. You become a bit of a philosopher, and you started painting pictures. I think that's what being an artist is. Without meaning to. Things just lead to that. Some of the greatest moments in my life or when I'm discovering a new opportunity to not see. You never know what's happening next. This is why I love about this type of painting. You never know what's happening next. It's almost like every step, every brushstroke is an act of faith. You don't know what's happening. And if you know what's happening, then you're not painting. You know, you don't know what's happening. This is why the guy used to say, the guy who painted the ballerinas said, only when I don't know what I'm doing, only when an artist does not know what he or she is doing, is that the artist is doing something great. He was talking about this feeling of you almost have to, you know, it's a letting go. I think they're buds. I think it's his brother. He's hugging him. See, and then the art, the painting reveals to me what it wants. It's shit, man. I swear, it's almost like channeling. It reveals to me what it wants to say at the end of the day, and because it almost puts itself in such a position that it tells me what it wants. This is his bud or his brother, or maybe brother in spirit or something. I don't know. And he is trying to give him some love, hugging him as they're walking. Brotherly, beautiful brotherly love. There it is. No, I don't finger paint. Man, I'd love to. Here, let's get this. So there it is. There it is. Not so many gestures there. It's more the bodies. Lost in the... They're in a rose garden. The two brothers are like, "What's up, bro? Where you going?" An instant, right? It's not even impressionism. I don't even think it's fauvism. It's just an instant. It's a sketch. It's an instant. They're catching each other in an instant. You almost peripherally you catch it, right? It's not even. I see my paintings as the background of Impressionist paintings. You know, when you see an Impressionist painting and the figures right here, and the Impressionist paintings were really realism with a softness, right? Using color and a softness. But really it was very much realism, the very first Impressionist paintings. But then in the background, they would do their images that kind of look like that. That's how I see my paintings. I see my paintings as the backgrounds of Impressionist and post-Impressionist paintings. Almost as the backgrounds of them. What gets neglected, what is supposed to be neglected, what's supposed to be busy and fuzzy and nobody really cares to see. The reason I started getting the idea of this, it's because I've always sort of liked the idea of the artists who bring forward that which is not quote-unquote important, you know. For example, Edgar Degas used to paint the ballerinas not performing, but tying their shoelaces, you know, their laces, tying their hair, brushing their hair, stretching, when the performing wasn't, when they were not on stage, really. That was the moment that was the most pure, right? We all need some love. We definitely all need some love. Another artist that I really love and admire very much is Caravaggio. He painted things that were considered not pure, not good, right? The rotten fruit, using people from the bars and prostitutes as these angelic figures, right? Heavenly figures. And so he brings forward, like, shit that probably Jesus would, not probably, shit that Jesus would have done, right? Let's go hang out and be friends with the people that the world outcasts. Unlike today, I think that we miss the whole point of the teachings of the JC. But bringing the thing that nobody wants, bringing it forward, right? This is how I see my paintings. They're sort of sketches that got left behind. If you see a Sorolla painting, or a Monet or a Manet painting, in the very background you see some. Imagine that the painting, the actual figure is here, and the things are happening here, and something in the background is happening. You're not really sure. It's about this big in a huge painting. That's my painting. That's my painting. If you see a Monet painting, something's happening over here in the foreground, and in the back there's a little kid running through some rose bushes with his brother. That's my painting. Just to give you guys a little explanation of where my inspiration and my ideas, what my painting is about. Because I think a lot of people see my paintings, they're like, what the hell is that about? It's why is it some sort of impressionism, but it's not. Some sort of expressionism, but it's not. It is the background. Always, always, always what gets neglected, what the eye sees for a second and can't really quite put together, right? Can't really focus it. You know it's there. Well, I make it the actual subject. What gets pushed to the back of a painting, I bring it forward and I make it the subject. All right. So thank you so much, guys. I appreciate this time with you guys very much. And this painting, by the way, is for sale. Those of you who are interested, let me know. I'll send you a link to it. This is, of course, one of the larger ones. This is not a 99-cent auction painting. This is for the collector, and it's pretty cool. I think if you collect this painting and have the video and the audio of me talking about it, and if this is your jam, right? If this is your kind of jam, this is pretty cool to watch and share with your friends and family, or your I don't know, acquaintances. Or I think this is a pretty cool thing to have. You know, imagine if Crazy Monet was painting water lilies and he was chuckling and laughing his ass off, you know, talking to you guys about the water lilies. I think this is pretty cool that we're able to do that. Also, another thing that I'm doing, and I'll share some stuff like that for those of you guys who are artists and are looking to market yourself. Dedications on video, especially for commissions. This is something that is really neat. So, for example, if you want to purchase this painting, I will do a complete dedication on video, which is, I think it's pretty cool. And it would be on YouTube, on a private, on a unlisted, right? It'll be unlisted. Only you can watch it. You'll have the link to watch it, you and your family and your friends. So I think it's pretty cool. You can host them on YouTube. No one else would be able to watch them but you and your family. So I think it's pretty cool. And where I dedicate the painting to you, and I walk you through what the painting means, what is it about, and I'll throw my spiel in there because that's what I'm about. My paintings come with spiel. I think I'm the only loco out there doing this. I don't know. Maybe there's other people, but they're not as good looking as I am. All right, guys, take care. This is the world's greatest living artist. Watch this video over and over before it goes away here on Instagram. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.